Hello, this is Dr. Heidi Horsley, Executive Director of the Open to Hope Foundation. I'm talking today with Lynne DeSpelder, who is a leader in the field of grief and loss. She is a professor of psychology, counselor, and co-author of the groundbreaking book, The Last Dance, Encountering Death and Dying, which is now in its 8th edition. Lynne, can you tell us about one of the ways you have worked with grieving survivors?
I think probably for this presentation, one of the most interesting client experiences I ever had was a young woman who had a baby die at death. And it's always useful to think about what you used to do before someone died and what you're not doing now. And so I asked her what she used to do before Justin died. And she said she worked in clay, and she made seals and whales that were sold down at the ocean at the craft gallery. So I asked her if she had any clay. She said she had some small lump, but she had never put her fingers in it. And I said, well, will you make me a deal? Will you put your fingers in that clay and bring me what comes out? And I'll tell you, I had no idea. I mean, she could have thrown it at the wall for all I knew. And as you see, the first of these sculptures, which she named The Anguish of Loss, tell the story of her grief and recovery.
Interesting. So what would you say to those survivors who are not artists and do not work in clay?
Well, it was interesting with Julie. Julie had to put her artist aside who wanted it perfect.
Right.
And really let the grieving mother work with the sculptures.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yes.
So you've got to give into it and just let the grieving part of you create what you need to create.
Exactly. And so, for example, if you write music, it's not about the technical skills that you can bring to it. It is about what comes out the other end. So I always ask my students for suggestions about what individuals can do in with their creativity, because that's in essence what Julie did. They talk about painting, drawing, listening to music, writing in journals. I think probably one of the most interesting pieces I've seen was a student brought in a box that she had created. She made the box, she covered the box in important memory pieces for this loss, and inside the box were treasures from the relationship.
Interesting. Wonderful. And what kind of things did she have? Just things that reminded her of this relationship?
Stone that she and her mother had found, a small piece of a comb that her mother used to comb her hair with. So they were just reminders of the connection that she had with the individual who died.
Yeah, and I like what you said, that you don't have to be an artist to be able to use art and as a way to heal.
No. And you don't have to be a musician to use music. You don't have to be a writer to use a journal. It's important to find a voice for your grief, and it isn't necessarily always your mouth.
In fact, sometimes it's very hard to put words to what you're experiencing.
Absolutely. And in Julie's case, what was fascinating about the sculptures is over a period of 18 months, they turned from this nude, grieving couple covered with a blanket. The blanket actually, she recovered. It turned into clothes, and actually the figures got larger as well.
Interesting. Yeah, so I would say to people, what would you say to people out there that are newly bereaved right now and trying to figure out how they're going to survive and how they're going to get through this time in their lives? What advice would you have for them?
I would say really sit down and think about something that brought you healing in the past. Think about another crisis in your life and what you turned to that was healthy and worked for you. And from there, you may have a number of things that you can do. Ask your friends what they would do. Use your resources.
That's great advice, and thank you so much. It's an honor to be here and interviewing a leader in the field.
Thank you very much, Heidi.
Thanks, Lynne.
Bye.
It was magnificent, a city like I'd never seen. The sense of history was deeper than I could dream. I walked down those tiny streets and the big, beautiful boulevards. With every step